Today we will solve quadratic equations by graphing. So the first thing we need to know is a zero of a function. A zero of a function is the value of the input x that makes the output equal to 0. Basically, the zeros are the x-intercepts. And quadratic functions can have no zeros, 1 0, or 2 zeros. And this is what the difference would be. If the quadratic function didn't even touch the x-axis, there's no x-intercept, so there'd be no zeros. If it's just lying on the x-axis, then you only have one intercept or 1 0. But if it crosses it and crosses it again, then you have two x-intercepts or 2 zeros. So let's look at some examples here. All right, so let's say we have f of x equals x squared, and when you're in Desmos, you can do it this way, x squared minus 5x plus 4. So we graph it here, and we see that it crosses the x-axis twice. So there's going to be 2 zeros here. The first 0 is going to be x equals 1, and the other 0 is going to be x equals 4. And that is all you have to do when you're graphing a quadratic equation and you need to find the zeros. You got 1, x equals 1, and x equals 4, and you're done. Let's look at another example. F of x equals 3x squared. So in this case, it only barely touches the x-axis and then goes back up. So in this case, there would be 1 0, and that would be x equals 0 because that's where it touches the x-axis. So x equals 0 is the only 0. And let's look at one more here. Alright, so in this one, we have f of x equals negative x squared minus 1. You see here the graph goes downwards because there's a negative at the beginning. And it doesn't cross the x-axis at all. So there are no real zeros here. So there are no zeros for this one. There is no IXL practice on this or anything. You could look up solving quadratic equations by graphing if you wanted more practice on this. Or we can hang out during asynchronous learning time and I can help you do some more examples that way. I'll see you in Zoom.